Okay guys, so I am starting my palettes collection. It took me a couple days from in between doing my first set of inventory videos versus this, and it is very overwhelming. I have 10 to be exact on the Anastasia Beverly Hills. I have Carly Bible, Prism, Alyssa Edwards, Modern Renaissance, Norvina, Master Palette by Mario, which was actually a gift from one of my fellow YouTubers here, Jackie from Jack's Lorraine. Thank you again, I love this palette. The Soft Glam, Sultry, Subculture, and Riviera, which you guys saw me use last month in the month of January, so love this one. So I have 10 total from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I have one from Alamar Cosmetics, and this is the one that we got in BoxyCharm. I haven't really played with this one all that much, but I need to play with it a little bit more. I have this one from Ace Beauty or Butte. This is the Grandiose palette. I did declutter the other one that we got in BoxyCharm this past month, and I think I'm going to declutter this one as well. I did not use it yet. I did swatch one color out of it, or two colors maybe. But I just have so many similar shadows like this, and I'm really not interested in this brand all that much, so I think I'm going to declutter this one right now so I don't even have to put it in my collection. So that one being gone, I have my B's now. So I have the Butter London palette. This has no name. Perfect. Okay, well this is definitely one that we got in BoxyCharm or one of the others. It is the Natural Goddess palette right there. Look at that. I do like this one, so I'm going to keep that. I have the Blink Electric Eyes shadow. Electric Eyes palette. This was from BoxyCharm as well. These are all shimmer and these are gorgeous. Love this one. I have a couple from BH Cosmetics, just two. I don't go crazy with their palettes. I used to, and then, you know, I didn't like the quality, and then they got their quality back, so it's a lot better quality now. So this is the Royal Affair palette. I haven't really played with this one all too much, but it is gorgeous. Then I have the Carly Bible. This was the original one, not the bigger one, the deluxe size one, I think. And this one's been well loved in use. I don't know why I still, oh, it's because it's taped. So I still have that protective packaging on there, but this is a gorgeous palette. You can see that it is well loved. I do want to get through this palette at some point. I did see somebody on Instagram finish this, so kind of motivated me to use this again. And then going to, nope, I have another B palette. That's this one from Becca, the Volcano Goddess. I didn't love all the colors in here. I did get this from TJ Maxx or Marshalls, but it really did give me a lot of good looks. I don't know. I'm highly debating on decluttering this. Oh, I don't know, you guys. I'm gonna wait on it right now. We'll see. Then I have this one from Crown Pro. I think this is from like Crown Brushes. It is the Glam Metals palette. This is actually an excellent palette. I really, really love this one. All the shades in here are shimmer or like glittery shades except for this black one here. But this is a really, really good pairing palette, so I'm definitely going to keep this one. And then for my only D palette, which is the Dose of Colors, this is Blushing Berries. I got this one also in a beauty box, hence the reason why I canceled a ton of my beauty boxes. So it comes with a brush and then just some berry toned colors in there. I'm trying not to blind you guys too much, but it's kind of hard to do that because I can't really see it very well. But I clearly haven't used this one. I have swatched this one and this one, but I just haven't used it. Also, why is there a black in here? We have blacks in like literally every palette. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet. I haven't played with it. I'm going to play with it and then decide from there. So these are all of my A through D palettes, and I have 10, 11, 18 total here. Okay, you guys, I did miss a D, which is the top one over there from my last set. Also, I did want to point out I skipped all of the Colourpop palettes, which I will be doing their own video. Also in this round, you will notice I skipped all of the L palettes or the Lorac palettes. I have a lot of those as well. So I wanted to give those ones their own video since I have so many of them. So let's talk about these. I have this Celestial Thunder from Alamar Cosmetics. Have not tried that. I have 6 from Huda Beauty. The Mauve Obsessions, Smoky Obsessions, Coral Obsessions, Warm Brown Obsessions, the Gemstone ones. So I have the Ruby Obsessions and the Emerald Obsessions. I've only used 3 out of 6 of those palettes, which is pretty pathetic. I have 2 from Eyeshadow Beauty. I cannot wait to use this one this summer. I have used this one a couple of times. As you can see, it is gorgeous. Love that one. This is one that I tend to bring to work a lot to do my eyeshadow just at work or just like a quick look. So you have a lid shade, which is the gold one, a transition shade, which is the brown one, and then like an inner corner brow bone highlight there. So I do really like this one for traveling and just something quick to use. Then I have 3 Juvia's Place palettes. I have the Nomad, which I just picked up, the Nubian 2, and the original Nubian. So I'm happy with those. I don't need any more Nubian or Juvia's Place palettes right now. Then I have some letter L's. So I have the Laura Geller Southampton Classic palette. So it is really, really pretty, a very simple palette. It does have a bronzer and a blush in there. So I haven't really played with this much. I have this like book of 3, the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And these ones are kind of similar. They have supposed to be a highlight shade. This one's very dark for me, but they have eyeshadow shades, a blush, and a highlight in that one. The Saturday has blush and highlight with eyeshadow shades as well. And then Sunday also has the same. So some of these I won't be able to use as a highlight because they're simply too dark, especially in the Friday one, but really I'm looking forward to using those eventually. Then I have some Marc Jacobs palettes. This one I recently got at TJ Maxx or Marshall's. This is the 820 Stiletto palette. She is gorgeous, and I've gotten quite a few good looks out of this already. And then this one I also got from TJ Maxx or Marshalls. And I can't remember what this one is, the Object of Desire palette. Same with this one, I've gotten quite a few really pretty looks out of it. So I could definitely depot this, but I kind of like the little packaging it has. And it does come with a very, very light colored bronzer, blush, and highlight. So this one is definitely like an on-the-go type of palette. I could definitely bring this with me. I have 2 Kat Von D palettes, which I recently got this Alchemist palette for $10 at TJ Maxx or Marshalls. I really do like it for inner corner highlights. However, I don't find it as practical as I thought I would, but it's okay. I like it. Now this one is the 10th anniversary palette. It was like a big thing when it came out. It is a rainbow style palette, but I think I'm actually going to declutter this one. I'm going to try to sell it on my Mercari site simply because I've only used it like twice and maybe like 3 colors in here. So I just don't find that I like this formula. So I am going to get rid of this. So this will be another declutter out of my collection. Alright, so switching to the P's, I have this Identity Persona palette, which I have yet to touch. I've heard amazing, amazing things about it, so I am excited to use this. Then I have 3 Morphe palettes. This was my very first Morphe palette and probably one of my oldest palettes in my entire collection. This is the Morphe 35F or the Fall into Frost palette. I'm not sure if they still sell this or not, but this has been through a lot. So these 4 shades, 1, 2, 3, and 4, were all dropped, and these 2 were broken. These 2 obviously fell out and totally shattered, so I have been using these 2 to try to just totally finish them out, but it's basically all shimmers on the top and then all mattes on the bottom. I really do love this palette, and I think it's a really great palette if you need a lot of shimmer shades, but I don't know, it's just like an older palette in my collection. I just don't tend to reach for it very often, but the quality is on point with this one, and it is very, very dirty. So that's where we are with that. And then I have my Morphe and Kathleen Lights palette. This one was like sold out so quickly, but this is an excellent, excellent palette. I find myself reaching for this quite a bit. I do get a lot of really good looks out of it, so definitely keeping that one. Really, really enjoy this one. And then finally, this one we got recently from a box of some sort. I don't know if it was Ipsy or BoxyCharm or anything like that, but this is the eyeshadow palette in Happy Hour 15H. So I have yet to play with this one. I have swatched it, but it looks like a really corally spring toned palette, so I'm hoping to whip this out in the springtime and get some use out of it. So here in this screen, you will see 23 shadows. So we will add that on to the 18, I believe, from the last one. And at this point, I'm probably going to lose count, so I'll have to do a roundup at the very end. But we have 23 total shadows here, or palettes, I should say, here. Okay, guys, so these are the rest of the palettes where I don't have like a ton of any single brand, but these are the rest of them. So like I said, I am going to do some other palettes together. And right now, these are what I have. I'm kind of over putting them in alphabetical order, which is how I'm going to actually be putting them in my inventory spreadsheet. So yeah, it'll be a lot. Anyways, so I have 3 from Pure. I have the Soiree Diaries, the BoxyCharm in Pure, which is a little bit more colorful. This one is very, very nude. Still really like those. And then this is like the Eye and Face palette. So you get a little contrast there. Then I have one Natasha Denona, and this is the Lila palette, or Lila palette, however you want to say it. I have 2 Viseart Theory palettes. One is in Amethyst, which is more of the purpley one. And then this one is in Minx, the Theory 2 in Minx. That's a very neutral colored one. Really like those Viseart palettes, so I'm interested in purchasing more at some point in my life, but not anytime soon. And then I have the Pretty Vulgar Nightingale palette. This is the more cool toned one. I have the Studio On The Go eyeshadow palette. This was one of the very first BoxyCharm palettes, and this one is in the shade Cool Down. So I kept the cool tone one, and I did declutter the warm toned one. I have my 2 Huda Beauty Wondrous palettes. My absolute favorite is the Seascape, and then I have Rush. I have this new palette to my collection. This is the Enduring Love by Sydney Grace. It is a gorgeous palette, like so, so beautiful. I've really enjoyed using this. Then I have quite a few, 6 to be exact, from theBalm. So I have the Balm Voyage, which is like an all face and eye palette. I have the Foiled Again, which I have been dying for this palette since I swatched it like 2 years ago. It is gorgeous. The shimmer shades in here are so pigmented and beautiful. I cannot believe more people are not talking about this, but I did finally pick it up from an Ipsy purchase, so glad to have that. I have the Meet Matrimony palette, that's all matte. I have In the Balm of Your Hand, Volume 2. I believe I got this from a box. It is an eye and face palette, so kind of excited to have this one, to be honest. I have the original Nude Tude, and I have the Nude Dude. I don't have the Nude Beach just because I really don't need it, but it would complete this collection, so I'm just not going to think about it because I kind of want it to just complete the collection. So anyways, I have 2 from Violet Voss. These also came in boxes, so I have the Violet Voss Pro eyeshadow palette. I have not even swatched this one or played with it yet, so that definitely needs to happen. And then I have the Violet Voss Essentials Pro Series eyeshadow palette. This is a little bit more colorful, but not too colorful that it's overwhelming, so I am going to play with this a little bit more. I have used this cinnamon shade, and I really liked it, and sand, so just keep playing with that one. This one I still haven't decided what I want to do, but these colors are really pretty. This is the Comfort Zone from Wet n Wild, so I'm going to keep that for now. Then I have the Urban Decay Vice Limited Reloaded palette, And this one is so pretty, you guys. I used it a lot like 2 years ago, and I really need to dive back into it because I really, really enjoyed it when I used it. So I'm going to use this eventually. Then going into more Urban Decays, I have the original Naked palette. It is well loved, even though it doesn't look like it. I try to keep this one as clean as I can. Then I have the Urban Decay Naked 2. I did declutter the Naked 3 recently, or not recently, maybe like a year ago, but this one's a very, very similar to the Urban Decay original Naked. Very neutral toned. Then I have the Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics. This is an all matte palette. I still have it in the packaging, clearly, so do I really need this in my life? No. Do I have it? Yes. And then I have the Urban Decay Born to Run. This one is a gorgeous palette. I really, really love this one. I did wear this on my mom's wedding. And yeah, I love this palette. I don't use it enough, but it is gorgeous. So here in this shot, you will see 25 palettes total. So that gets me up to about 75, I think, in my collection. I mean, I could be totally off of my numbers, but you guys still haven't seen Colourpop, Lorac, Too Faced, or Tarte palettes, so I clearly have a lot more, but here in this little section that you guys see right now is 25 total, so we're just gonna keep chugging along today. Okay, so this is actually a smaller amount than I was truly expecting. I think I have done a good job at decluttering palettes from Tarte and Too Faced that I just don't like. So I'm actually quite like perplexed by how little this section is. I didn't think it was going to be this small, but I'm really happy it is. So I have my Tarte palettes over here and then Too Faced here. So let's start with Tarte. This one looks pretty beat up, but I got it at TJ Maxx or Marshalls for a great deal. This is the original Clay Play palette, and it's just a neutral tone palette with 3 like bronzing shades at the bottom. So haven't played with that one too much. The Graveyard Girl Swamp Queen palette. I don't love this palette, but I do want to give it a little bit more time. I have the Tarte Unleashed palette, and it says Young, Wild, and Cruelty Free on the front. I love this palette. Every single time I play with it, every single time I make an eye look out of this palette, people give me craziest, nicest comments, or compliments I should say. Love this one. Such a good palette and great quality as well. This is one of my oldest Tarte palettes in my collection, probably one of my oldest palettes total. This is the Tartelette in Bloom palette. And she is well loved. Not, I mean, as well loved as it probably should be, to be honest, but I do love this palette. Gorgeous palette. Then this is the Tartelette Toasted palette. I've loved this one quite a bit as well, as you can see. I typically like to use this one in the summertime, so I haven't used it all too much. Then I have this one that I recently got in a box of some sort. This is the Rainforest of the Sea Volume 3 palette, and I don't know, I just haven't played with this one a lot. It has so many shimmer shades, and Tarte's shimmer shades are really not my favorite quality, so we'll see about this one. And then I have another one that came in a box, the Tarte Dream Big palette. So this is what it looks like. It is an eyeshadow palette, and I actually think this is quite a nice compact palette, although there's like one transition color, but I think I could definitely use this to travel with at some point. So that's all the Tarte ones I have. I only have 7 Tarte palettes, which, like I said, I'm really surprised it's not more. So on to Too Faced palettes. This is the one that I am working with right now, trying to get finished. It is almost done, you guys. I'm not going to show you for a spoiler, but this one is an old Christmas or holiday palette. This one is a new one to my collection. I got it recently at TJ Maxx or Marshalls. It is the Too Faced Natural Lust palette, and she is gorgeous. I've only swatched a few shades. I have not actually played with this yet, so definitely need to play with this one. I have the original chocolate bar palette. I'm not even going to show you guys. You know what this looks like. I have the chocolate gold palette, which I actually brought to Daytona with me the last time I went, and it's like basically all shimmers, so really enjoyed that one. The Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, which is probably one of my favorite palettes of all time. The Chocolate Bonbons palette, which I got from TJ Maxx or Marshalls. I've been loving this one. Then I have the White Peach palette. This one I don't love as much. It's very, very muted color story, but I do want to play with it a little bit more before I decide to declutter it or not. I just got this one in a BoxyCharm, I believe. I want to say BoxyCharm. This is the Palm Springs Dreams palette. It is gorgeous. I've only swatched it. Then I have 3 of the like original tins. I don't have any of the new style packaging of these tins, and I don't have any of the old cardboard packaging. So I feel like that's pretty good that I've only purchased 3. I know I've purchased more and decluttered or given them away. So I have the Too Faced Country. Ooh. I have the Country palette, which I really enjoy. I keep the weight in here just so I can see how much I'm using it. I have the Natural Eyes palette, which is like a classic. Really, really enjoyed this one. And then I have the Sugar Pop for just a little bit of color, but I like this one too because it's color and it's in a smaller, compact container, not one of those huge rainbow palettes, so I do really like this one as well. So that is all from my Too Faced and Tarte collection. I'm really happy that I've scaled this one down and haven't gone too crazy on like holiday collection purchases or anything like that, so pretty happy with this. I have 18 total palettes here. Okay guys, so I did decide to do Lorac all on its own. I clearly have a lot, and I clearly love this brand and their eyeshadows. So this is one of my absolute favorite shadow formulas ever. One of my very first Lorac palettes, actually my very first Lorac palette, was the original Pro, so that one is quite old. That was at the very, very beginning of my makeup loving obsession. So we have, I'll just go through them. We have all 4 of the Mega Pros. They did not make any Mega Pros for the last 2 years, so that's a little sad. I actually have, oops, these are out of order. That's really annoying. There we go. Now we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2 I did buy off of a different site. I can't quite remember, but they brought them back, so I did purchase them. But my first Mega Pro purchase was the number 3, and I did buy an additional backup. And this was my Pan That palette for last year, and as you can tell, it is very, very well loved. I do have Pan in the shade Snow, the light like white colored one. I really, really love this palette, and I've quite enjoyed using it over the last year. So definitely keeping that one. It is quite dirty now as well. This is my backup Lorac Mega Pro 3 palette. It's just in its box, and it's going to stay in its box until this one's all gone and I can whip this one out. I was going to declutter it or try to sell it, but I just love this one so much. It's my favorite Lorac Pro, and I wanted a backup, so you never know when they won't sell them anymore. The last year they sold it was the 4, and it's quite a bit more colorful than the 3, but I don't know, it's really pretty, and I've used this one quite a bit as well. So then I have the original panned ones, the 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the original one is very well loved. I do keep this one quite clean though. I just recently picked up the number 2, which is this one, which I clearly haven't even used yet. So I'm really happy to have this one to complete my collection. Then I have number 3, which is quite neutral toned, but it's more of like the pinky side neutral tone, so do like that one. And then the number 4 I have yet to use. It is gorgeous though. Cannot wait to dig into this one. Then I have both of the original unzipped palettes. This is the unzipped and the unzipped gold. So these ones have been well loved as well. This one is more of the pinky rosy tones, which I do really like. And then I believe this one's more neutral. Yeah, this one's more of a neutral toned palette, but I really do enjoy these palettes a lot. So I'm keeping all of my Lorac ones, by the way. This was one of the holiday palettes. I'm not quite sure what year. Yeah, so this one doesn't say a year on it, but I'm sure I could look up the manufacturer number on here and figure it out. But this is the Shine Bright Pro eyeshadow palette. And here she is. I clearly have not touched this even once, which is really, really sad. This is a beautiful palette, very similar to the Mega Pros, but just quite a bit smaller, which is actually really nice for travel. So I do love this one. I'm definitely going to get some use out of it soon. I have done a review video on this one. This is the Lorac Unzipped Ocean Sunset palette. And every single time I use this palette, you guys, I love it even more. So as you can see, it is very well loved once again. So love this one. These two are my newest Lorac palettes, and I just picked them up on sale one time. So this is the Unzipped Elegance, and they only have 5 shades in here. I do like this one. This one is okay. And this is the Unzipped Unfiltered. This pan here, this like pinky glittery shade, is already got hard pan on it. Like you can't pick up anything. So I was debating on returning this, but I think it's past that time now. So I'm probably just going to use this up. There's only 5 shades in there, and you can pan these Lorac shades pretty quickly. So I am just going to keep this one as well. So here in this shot, I have 15 Lorac palettes, which is nuts, but honestly I kind of stopped myself from purchasing more throughout the holidays. They have came out with that brunch palette like this, and then a few other ones. They came out with the Lorac and Pirates of the Caribbean that I was dying over, but I didn't want all the packaging. So Lorac has a very sleek way of their packaging, which I really love. Like, I just love how compact and sleek all of these are. It makes me so happy, and it's so aesthetically pleasing to see to the eye. So I do really, really love Lorac palettes, and I am just going to keep enjoying my collection of 15. And that does include the one that I have not opened yet. So yeah, that's a lot, but I love it, so nothing wrong with that. These are all of my Colourpop palettes. Yes, I do have a lot, but it could be a lot worse. I'm not gonna lie, like there has been so many releases like that Bare Necessities palette, and quite a few releases with, like, you know, not celebrities, but YouTube people. I love Lorac shadows, and they are truly some of my absolute favorite formula. This, Lorac, and Anastasia Beverly Hills are probably my 3 favorite formulas for eyeshadows, so I'm really not surprised to see such a big collection, but let's just go through it. So I have the Perception with Shayla palette, and this one is gorgeous. I have the Golden State of Mind, which I actually got in a BoxyCharm, I believe. It is all shimmers. I have yet to play with this one. This one I also got in a box. This is the Semi Precious palette. Once again, all shimmer shades. This one I got from a girlfriend, and she was decluttering it, and I swatched these, and they were so, so good. This is the Chaos, K-A-O-S, I'm assuming it's Chaos, pressed powder palette, and I loved this. This is such a perfect travel palette for me. Transition shade, corner crease, and then 2 different lid colors. This is a perfect palette for me, so I'm definitely going to bring this traveling. Then I have quite a large number of the 12 pan palettes, 10 to be exact. So I have the Dream Street with Kathleen Lights, California Love, which was my second most recent palette purchase. Gorgeous. This is Give It To Me Straight, such a pretty spring color palette. This is the Yes Please palette. I hate that it says Cute AF on the front. I wish it said Yes Please on the front. Just saying, but I don't use this one as much as a lot of other people did. You Had Me at Hello, which, by the way, if you peel off the sticker, this is the Lumiere palette, so I just think that's kind of fun, but it is gorgeous. Then the My Little Pony palette. I got this for some of the more unique colors in there. the Element of Surprise palette, which I really enjoy this pink color. Such a good palette. This one is the Double Entendre, and I hate the fact that these two are the exact same like style of palettes. But this is Double Entendre. And then this one I've actually used a lot more. This is the I Think I Love You palette. Such a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. And then this is my most recent purchase of my Colourpop palettes. Well, of the 12 pan palettes. This is the Flutter By palette, and it is just gorgeous once again. So then we move to the plastic packaging, because these are all cardboard packaging. This is the plastic packaging of the 9 pan palettes. So I believe the very first one I got was the Baby Got Peach. This one is just beautiful, great for spring and summertime in my opinion. Then I got the It's My Pleasure palette. Such a gorgeous palette. I did a look with this recently, the birthday collab with Angela, so love that one. Then I got the Strawberry Shake palette, which if you follow my panning stuff, it's in my monochrome project pan for red. So there's a ton of red shades. I have not yet used this palette at all. The next palette purchase I got was the Lilac You A Lot, which once again I did use this recently as a purpley toned palette. Such a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. Then I got the Going Coconuts, which I actually wore yesterday for my anniversary dinner, and my husband absolutely loved my look. I've worn this a couple times now, and every time I wear this, I am so satisfied with how it turns out. So really, really love this palette. And then my most recent palette purchase of all of my palettes all together was this Mint to Be by Colourpop. They have a whole collection of these 9 pan palettes coming out once again for pastel colors, and I am just in love with this palette. I loved the look I got, and I can definitely see myself using this more and more often. So total of all of my Colourpop palettes, I have 20 palettes here. Once again, not as bad as it could be, truly. Like, there's so many palettes that I really want. I want the So Jaded, the Bare Necessities. I just, like, so many more palettes that I could buy. But I'm trying to use what I have this year, and I'm trying to be more mindful of my purchases, considering that I obviously have well over 100 palettes total. So it's a little bit much for the number of palettes that I have, but I am really happy with all of the Colourpop palettes. Now, if I use a palette like the Yes Please palette, for instance, and I just don't love it and I don't enjoy how it looks on my eyes, I will declutter it. I'm not afraid to declutter things, but so far, I really do like everything that I have here from Colourpop. And I am just going to keep enjoying what I have and loving what I have. So 20 palettes total here from Colourpop. Okay guys, so this is the very last section of palettes that I have going for this video. This is obviously fully eyeshadow palettes total. So these are the final ones I am counting, and I am counting them as palettes because they are in palette form. So even though they are single shadows, all 6 of them are single shadows, I am counting them as full palettes. Now I will tell you, in my inventory video, I am going to separate these out and call them single shadows, separate them by brand and such. That is going to take a lot of time to do, but that is okay. I need to put these in my inventory to see if I can actually use Shadows Up this year. I also have this one here, which is my eyeshadow, Pan Those Eyeshadows. So clearly I don't have pan on any of them yet, so I'm not afraid to show you this. I have been using this quite a bit, but this is going to count, although the palette itself is not going to count. These 9 shades actually go in places in these palettes, and you will see the empty spaces in them. So yeah, these do count in my single shadows. However, this palette is not counting as one, so I'm counting it as 6 different eyeshadow palettes here. So I will just kind of open these up for you and show you them without their cover on. I don't have these organized in any specific way, but I do really enjoy these single shadows, and that's why I have kept them over time. So this, like I said, is not organized in any specific way. It's just kind of put in there however. Okay, so a lot of these single shadows are Coastal Scents. I also have a lot, maybe not a lot, I have quite a few Colourpops in here. I have a couple Makeup Geek, and I have a couple Sydney Grace shadows. So I do have a pretty good variety, although the vast majority of these shadows are Coastal Scents, which I had a big Coastal Scents kick for a while, and then I kind of was like, what do I do with all of these shades? So that is why I decided to do the Pan Those eyeshadows this year and put them in a little homemade palette. Although I'm kind of getting sick of this palette already. We'll go over that when my next update comes up, but right now I just wanted to show you. And if you see a space like this, that is because one of those shades is in my Pan Those eyeshadows. So this is the last large Z palette I have, and these ones I know for a fact, these ones up here, the 10, because one is missing, the 10 up here, those are definitely all Sydney Grace shadows, which I love Sydney Grace shadows. If you have not tried them yet, you are literally missing out. They are fantastic shadows. So some of these other ones I don't really know what they are. This one is Colourpop. This one I believe is Ofra, actually. No, this one is from M Cosmetics. I do have a couple Ofras in here as well. So yeah. And then I have these two Coastal Scents palettes. These ones actually have a mirror in them. So if I wanted to travel with my single shadows, I would just kind of swap them out for one of these palettes, because then I would have a mirror and it's a little bit more put together. So this one I clearly have 3 of them missing, which are in here. So this is normally a very full palette here. And then my final single shadows are right here. So like I said, I don't have these organized by color, by brand. The only brand I have is the Sydney Grace organized in the purple one. But yeah, I don't have them organized by any specific way. I just kind of made palettes that I could work with out of them. So yeah. So I have 6 palettes here. And I am going to count the single shadows because that's what we're working with. I have already showed you guys my single like potted shadows like that are in their own container. Those do count as single shadows, but I'm counting them in a different category simply because they are not in a Z palette or a sort of Z palette. So I'm going to count all of these really quickly and tell you the total number of shadows that I have for my single non-potted shadows. So total here in my 6 palettes, and technically considering this, I have 126 single shadows. That is so many, you guys. I am really sad to say that, but to be fair, 100 of those, I would say, maybe a little less, are definitely my Coastal Scents shadows that I got at like 98 cents each. So I was really in the beginning stages of what I didn't know and what I liked and what I didn't like about eyeshadows at the point when I bought all those. So I do have a lot to do, like palette dupes and stuff, which I should probably do at some point. At this stage though, I really don't want to. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not in the mood to do palette dupes. If I want a palette, I'm just going to get it. But I don't really need any purchased palettes at any time soon. So this concludes my eyeshadows. I was gonna say eyeshadow singles, which it does include, or does conclude my eyeshadow singles, but it also concludes the video for my eyeshadow palettes. So these were all of my eyeshadow palettes total.